to see if it's streaming. I'm gonna continue to do the build space stuff. I spent 2 hours today here. I've been trying to make the viewport work, Pixi-viewport library, but it doesn't work because it uses the window. So we try to implement dynamic imports, but then it imports as a component and not a class. So what I'm going to try to do now is copy the files manually and then try to use the code, because I think that I know like the parts that is probably wrong is the one I have here highlighted, this thing here. So I think I'm going to try to copy the files one by one and just get the files that I want or that I need there. And this is an example that I saw on how to do it. I think you can also add the events through the renderer directly, but this seems to be the way I think I've seen on 2 examples. There's another one from Pixi, from the examples here, that also does it like that. But the problem is, I think these examples are from React, not Next.js, and that's why it works here, but it doesn't work for Next.js because of the server-side rendering, which is very annoying. So they use this, and then they just pass properties, and this. I think later on maybe they call the functions somewhere. The thing that I'm like, how can I say this? And the problem is that if I try to study the source code is really bad the way that it is here, because it's the parsed version and there's a lot to study here, but I'm trying to understand like why is it necessary to use this other library. Not necessary, but like probably the best way to do it, because of the examples here. It is to use these viewports. So the thing that I don't understand is like why, because so the application has the renderer, the view, and the screen, and I think I understand now the relationship between them. The screen is just the pixels of the screen. The view is where the camera is pointing at, so what you currently see, and the renderer is the thing that makes the graphics, that actually renders the graphics. So those are the three main components. So I think like zooming is related to the view, but then again it's weird because on the documentation, through the interaction there is on the renderer class, not on the view. So on the when using just Pixi without the other library is just using the interaction manager and then putting on the renderer class. It has to do with the renderer class. I'm not really sure exactly how it works. But and then here is like this viewport stuff. So I'm trying to understand like how is this related to the other things, and which one should handle the zoom events. And I think that I asked ChatGPT something like that, and it says that the like when you render when you put the event on the zoom on the view, the zoom event on the view, you have to re-render the graphics, which makes a lot of sense. So like they are combined, and that's why you use the viewport. But I don't understand really well how it works. And it's annoying because like I have no idea how long I'm gonna spend, because again it's the same. Because what I was thinking about yesterday is like I'm gonna study the stuff that I have there and then I'm gonna try to implement. But now I don't know again because there's this other library, so it's kind of like the same thing. Or there's a bunch of stuff to study again, and then I don't know, like I don't want to be stuck into and not do anything. That's the issue. So not right now I'm thinking that it's better to try to copy, but maybe it's not gonna work. Try to copy the contents of the files and then just try to use whatever files are necessary to make the event happen. But even then I'm gonna have to study probably like all of this stuff, and there's a lot of code from all the libraries that I don't understand really well. I watched the videos about the reconciler as well, and now I think I understand better, but still like the actual source code of the library there I don't understand really well, like why they did the things the way they did. But the fiber is like a layer between the reconciler and the like it works on the update cycle of the real DOM to virtual DOM. So you have the virtual DOM and then it updates to the real DOM, but only the necessary parts using the diffing algorithm. And then you have two processes, like because it's asynchronous, this update. So you have the process where it does the work, and then you have the process where it renders. And it's similar to the double buffer on graphics. So I don't remember the specifics really well, but then the fiber is like related to this process of the work in progress and the actual rendering of this stuff. So the reconciler is the thing that is responsible for the update of the virtual DOM to the real DOM. And then that's why I guess they are interfering there, or like using the, because you can create your own reconciler, because the React doesn't say anything about that. It just creates the, I don't remember really well, like what exactly is the part that React does. But I know that React only does like a small part, and then the actual part of updating you can create. Yeah, React doesn't render the stuff, I think. It only creates the virtual DOM or something like that, and then you can create your own renderer, I think. That's the thing, and then there is probably using reconciler to do some low level change on the way that it renders because of the way that the Pixi has to work. But I don't understand really well yet. That's the problem. It feels like it's a lot of stuff to study. and not a lot of time. So this one adds the stuff through these plugins here, and in the other example it just calls the functions. As here, this Pixi-viewport, which encapsulates the other one. And then here is looping over the plugins. And then on this one it just calls the functions as it creates here, as it creates the class here. So I think I'm just gonna copy the files and then say, what do I need? Because I don't wanna deal with the dynamic imports. I was trying to make it happen with dynamic imports, but then it imports as a module, as a component, not a module, and then I could access the module there, like through accessing the type, but it's importing like it is a React component, and I wanna access the class. So I think that I could make it work the way that I was doing before, but then it doesn't feel right. It doesn't seem like it's the right way to do it. So I think that's trying to put, but obviously it's not the best as well to put this stuff locally here, I think. Not really sure what to do. But the idea is you create this Pixi component. What this does is creates this type. And this is a primitive component in React. It's going to be a primitive component because this is using it doesn't access the function directly, but I assume that at some point it does. The React create element. So this is the type of the component it's going to be. So it's like a primitive HTML component. And then this is going to be the cycle where you want the component to work, I think, or I don't understand really well how it works. But I know that this is part of the cycle for the components. So you just pass one of the parts here. And for this is passing the create. So it's just gonna create the class with these props that you're passing here, and then you use this component to wrap around the application. To wrap around the containers inside the application, the stage. And then you pass the app and props. And these functions are going to add the ability to drag and the wheel. Which is zoom. I think you just want to create this and then try to make it work. I don't want to install the whole project. That's the issue, because that's the reason why I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not, or like if it's the best way to go about it. I was thinking about it as well, to try to implement the events using the interaction manager or doing some other way, and like instead of using this library, just updating the view and the renderer through the functions using the context for the app. And this is the thing that I don't know really well, because I might have to do that anyway, like add the events directly there. But I think that the rest of the events probably, like outside of zoom and dragging, there isn't anything that I can think about. The camera, maybe moving through with the keyboard. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I think that would be complicated because it's related to both the the elements, the nodes and the edges, and relate it to the view. Yeah, that's the thing that is annoying me, is that I don't understand really well how it works. Like how they are all integrated, and how is, like, what is the best way to design these things. That's the problem. Yes, I can think about ways to implement, but then like I'm gonna build everything on a shitty foundation. Don't wanna do that. At the same time, it's so much code that I think is like waste of time to try to do everything on my own as well. So maybe I'll just copy all of these files that are needed, and then I just study the files instead of trying to study the source code the way that it is there when you download the file, because it's all messed up. Not messed up, but it's the version that after the compiling. It's like all this one letter stuff. So I think studying this one is just a waste of time. It's too much time to figure out. The main concern is understand how it works fundamentally. And it's very hard to do, like, increase my intuition over how, or what is the best way to go about building this stuff. Like, if I was the one building the libraries, how would I do it, and why should do it the way that they are doing? How is everything connected? That's the thing. Because I think that's the part that I'm struggling the most when it comes to doing, like, my own code without using any libraries or anything like that. And it's always because there's a bunch of different approaches you can do. It's very hard to think about the best way. And also there's the thing that even if I understand the reasoning for them doing the way that they did it, doesn't mean that the way that they did it is the best. That's the problem. Like, it might be the case that they just build it in a way that is not very good, and there would be a better way, but it's very hard to reason about or to try to understand, like, what makes a design approach be good or not. How to structure things on your mind when it comes to the files and the classes and the relationship between the classes and the components. I think that's the thing that is messing me up the most. You know, trying to bridge the gap between the React components and the functions, to understand how it works, the connection between them. Or how, like, not the connection, but what is the best way to merge the two approaches. As I'll go one by one. I'll probably have to install these files though. I mean, what's just easier to do is just download everything and then see what I need, instead of copying it manually. So I'm gonna need this one. The problem with types, I'm just gonna change to JavaScript instead of TypeScript, so I don't have to worry about this bullshit. Yeah, whatever. So now I have to check all of this. This is weird because the thing is not here. So I'm not sure why it's not complaining. It's because it is a different type of import, but I think it's not the case. Should be one level up here, I don't understand. Oh, whatever. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong file, that's why it's here. I was confusing this file with the other one. So I suspect that the reason why it's not working is because of the type. It has a window there. So what I'm gonna try to do is just put a ternary operator. Just make no if the window is not defined. I'm not sure if that's gonna work or not. If it doesn't, then I'm just gonna make it so that I pass so that it doesn't have the default parameters. And then, like, hopefully it works, and then if it works, then I will just study the source code here to understand how they are doing it and why use this library in the first place. And then after figuring out these events, then I have to... Yeah, the thing is gonna be tough, the keyboard events. That's gonna be annoying because it's related to both things. So I'm gonna have to think about how to implement that. So that I put but maybe it's just gonna be through the same pattern that these ones use, which is the event emitter, I think. That you sign up to the events the moment you create the elements, and then whatever is listening to the events, do whatever you wanna do. So the case is gonna be the keyboard, I think. The arrow keys probably to move around between the nodes and the edges. But that's more... Also the other thing like that is concerning me is that... I'm not sure if it's concerning is the right word, but like And I'm not really sure, because I have an idea on my mind on like all of the things that I want to do, but I'm not really sure if it's going to be possible or not. The biggest thing is there's also so much stuff to do. But the biggest thing is the GitHub repositories to, because I'm like, I don't know if it's better to make it so I download most of them manually and then I create something that parses, because what I'm thinking about doing is creating something that reads the files and then, and this is the problem, is because it's going to be very hard, because I'm going to have to create an interpreter or a compiler. So pretty much parse the file and capture what's important from the file, and then analyze, create the graphs based on that. But then I don't know if I should create something that makes a request to GitHub and then gets the repo from there, like the info from there, or like if it is even possible, or if I download everything manually and then I just add projects one by one, because that's more secure. And then like as I add them, I make them available in the front end, so that when you click, it triggers the route for that, or it sends the whatever data to select the project from a file, and then from that selection it calls the parsers, go over the project, gets data, sends to the front end, and then from the front end you build the graph. But I think it's better to just focus on the script first until I have the graph, like until the graph is really good, the visualization. Like I think I need to master the visualization first and with the script, and then I think about the rest of the stuff, because otherwise it's just too many things to think about. Yeah, so besides this errors from the type, it should be working. So this is the stuff that I think is messing up the thing. First I'm gonna try to import and see if there's gonna be any other errors. Yeah, pinner, so yeah, that's the thing. But it looks like it is working, the imports. Let's see if it works if I put the biggest problem with building this stuff is that I don't know, like, if it's something that is this way too hard for, like, is way too outside of my skill level start to build something like this. That's the biggest concern that I have, because like there might be unknown unknowns, and that's the problem. But I think that's at least something that to visualize scripts I'm gonna be able to do it. Like it should be at least useful to some degree. But to do everything that I want to do, then I think it might be too much, because I don't know how. And also the other biggest problem is that I don't have the money to pay for databases and servers and things like that. So like limits, and that's one of the concerns that I have, like, because I was thinking about if I download the projects manually, then it might be too much data that I'm gonna have to have. But maybe I can just start with at least some of them and then scale later. I could just do like 3 starting the 3 most important ones. Like I just can go on the GitHub trends and see which projects are the ones being used most often, but it's probably going to be something related to AI, and then do them as well. Do only them in the beginning, but it's hard to know. If it's gonna work or not. Okay, so it looks like it is importing, at least now. Let's see if it works. It's probably on the initialization input manager. But I think at least it works. Now I can just study the source code. It's less bad than if it didn't work. Now I just have to change whatever is necessary here to make it work when it's rendering the first time. So why is passing undefined there? Viewports, options. Oh, it's because I don't have any options in the beginning. That's why. So I need to pass. Well, but I am passing all of this stuff here, so I should have these options. Yeah, the problem is that it doesn't make sense to put. The thing is, like, it's weird because this condition should already make it so that it only loads on the front end, on the client, because this makes sure that I have the reference to the other document, to the div. So it means that when these renders should be on the client, because it is working here, it has the width and the height. So maybe it's because I'm passing the wrong way there. Could be that. And I think that this might be the problem. Let me see. Yeah, so I should have at least these options here, so it shouldn't be undefined. Is this passing the instance of this class to the input manager? I think when it's initializing here. So I think the problem is probably because it's passing undefined through this props here. Trying to see if it makes sense. Oh, it has these options here. Yeah, so the options are just gonna be the object that I'm passing here, and combined with the other one, with this one. Oh, events, let's see. It doesn't have events because it's not a window. Maybe. But that doesn't make sense. Because it should be a key of this object here. But the thing is, the stuff that I'm passing there, when I'm initializing, is from the example, so it should be working. So it makes me think that is the thing that I changed here that is making this fail, but I don't understand why. Because this is gonna be the instance of the class. Yeah, it's passing the viewports there. So it's that instance, and then it's accessing the object, the options, which is the object. And then it doesn't have events, I think. So what's up with that? Yeah, this one, it's not passing events as well. Also, this one doesn't pass, so it makes me think that, but it doesn't make sense for the thing to be the window, because that should be a key of the the object. That's what I don't understand. So maybe it's something else. Yeah, I'm just gonna see if I'm passing the props in the correct way first, because I think it is incorrect based on these things that I was trying before. As it passes as undefined, I think. Not sure if this will work though. Probably have to comment as an empty object. Undefined. That's the problem. I guess it's fine here to pass like this, as I'm spreading here. But then here should be width and height, I think. After I check if I'm passing in the correct way, then I'll try to solve, just see what's happening on this file. Because it doesn't make any sense to me that... Also, it is passing all of this stuff through the props. Like, I don't understand how it's possible on the examples to work if they are not passing the events. So, like, the thing is, I want to understand, maybe it's something else from the library, like a file that I didn't pass here, that does supposed to add the events. This is the issue. Maybe it's this federated pointer events, or it can be that somehow the window there. But that doesn't make any sense to me because the event should be the key directly here. Like, you shouldn't have anything to do with this thing here, because otherwise you would be accessing this value after the viewports there. Viewports, dot options. But then if it was any of these libraries, then you would like give another, you would complain that it doesn't have the library, so it also doesn't make sense to be that. Is why it's very weird. It's supposed to work without the event there. I guess I have to see. And the problem is that I don't have the access, I think, to the source code of this here. Maybe I do actually. The dependencies. I forgot that I can't use the thing there. I'm not sure if I can look into the source code here, probably not. Because obviously I want to see if the version that they are using here has an events as the default object there on the options, so I can copy to mine. Or if they are using, because it doesn't make any sense. The only thing that to me that makes sense is that the source code has events there. Either that or the options should, like, it has something to do with the window somehow, and the window object has events. Let me see the. I think the type shouldn't have anything to do, maybe. This. Oh, maybe here it shouldn't be... Or that's how they're doing there. No, but maybe I'm passing the wrong prompts. Because I think the screen width should be the width of the window, not the canvas there. But I think that's not gonna solve this stuff anyway. And they're passing a fixed thing. So maybe it is the width and height of the component, not the window. It should have to pass here. Or events here. Maybe it is because I don't have the Pixi events. So I do have the library. Oh, but it looks like this also uses the... So the viewport is just a wrapper, and they both use the renderer. So it's both the renderer and the view. You have to update the view, but then you update the renderer, because the renderer is the stuff that renders the view. So like, it's the thing that selects what's gonna be computed on the on what you actually see. Now let's see here. Because this is just the type declaration, so... But I'm not really sure if the... Or it's the interface. How can I ask this? I think it doesn't make sense for the interface to allow you to access the event because there's nothing there. But I don't know, I don't understand why it's not working there. Like, because you have the events here, but it's not passing. The only explanation I think is that the library changed. There was some updates and the examples there are for a different version. Yeah, here there is no event. Obviously it's the same file that I have there. So the only explanation is you have to pass. So I should probably... I can import the library there and then just pass that as the events. But I want to understand first how it works. Like I can just import these events here on here and then pass like the key here event to event equals this event system here. Maybe that would work, but I want to understand why this is happening here. Let me see. This is from this article here. See from when? 2020. Yeah, so it might be because it is an old article. Not sure if I can look at the dates here somewhere. I think I remember reading somewhere that there were some breaking changes or something like that, but I don't remember which one of these tabs here. So I suspect that what happened is that they changed the library since they made the examples there, and that's why there is no events being passed on the examples. It looks like this one is a lot. How do I say that in English? It's more recent than the other ones. I think maybe it's because Pixi changed, and then this one had to change as well. This one. Huh, interesting. Oh, he did the same thing that I did. So this one as well. 329. Resize. But he did the other way around. Yeah, maybe I should put 0 instead of no. That will fix the other one. Just gonna copy what he did there. Plugins, Ragdas. It's weird that his lines are different than mine as well on the viewports. So maybe this file is wrong. His is 150. Also, he's passing events through here. I think that the change is that before you pass the interactions, and now you pass the event. So this part here, instead of passing the plugins interaction, or maybe I just add events. I think I'm just gonna do this, and then I copy this one, and then I try later. If it doesn't work, I just replace this with events instead. I think that the reason why this happens is because they changed this. There's a deprecation warning, I think, on the thing there, but like it's weird because the deprecation comes from the library, but I didn't change anything on that library, so like the own code from the library itself is using the deprecated version. So I think that they changed something, like they changed a part of the library and didn't change the other part. So it just gives you the deprecation warning, but it still uses the old stuff. And I'm not sure, because like for that part I can't really change, because then if I change here locally, then it's not gonna work when you install the library, and I don't wanna download everything manually and do everything. I'm only doing this with this one because it's necessary, but... Or like in the other case, when the library seems like it's not an official library, then I think it's worth it to download locally, but otherwise I think it just makes more sense to just use the library instead. But then I can't really change the source code. I wish that I could see the whole file. So I can't see. I think I'm gonna put this file, like read this file in my file side by side, to see if there's anything that I'm missing on the other one. I'm also gonna see the examples they have there, if they have examples, or events, render events. So that's probably how you do it now. Yeah, this is the deprecation thing, I think. Options, events. Yeah, so before you use the interactions, now you use events. See if it works now. So I don't have plugins. So it could be because I'm passing the app in the wrong way, but then this would be failing, I think, before. So maybe something else. Because probably it's this one. It's like this. Yeah. So let me see. I'm obviously gonna spend a bunch of time studying the code here. I guess it's kind of annoying because this like whole part is just like kind of like a build up until I'm able to focus on the stuff that actually matters, which is the like making the visualization useful. I think I'm just anxious to get to that point. That's why I'm annoyed with these things. Is because like it feels like all the time there's like another mountain to climb, like a gigantic mountain, and I just want to get to the point where I have the visualizations and I can start doing the customization, because that's the point that I'm gonna actually be able to think about like what is gonna be the stuff that is gonna be the most useful to visualize, and also change the UI there to make everything better. Because I guess I just want to get to the point as fast as possible to be able to like because obviously I want to build something that I want to use myself, so like I want to get to the point where I'm actually be able to go to GitHub and then find a repository that I think is interesting, and then start creating stuff to make it easier to visualize and understand what is going on. But then there's this massive mountains to climb still. I guess the easiest thing I can try there is just to comment the ticker out. Just see if it works. I just want to see if it works first. Like, because also there's always the balance between making stuff happen and then studying everything. I want to make sure that I'm not like procrastinating on actually making progress on the thing. So I just want to see if it works first. Then I'll go back to studying everything to understand. Because my concern is that I spend too much time studying again without making any progress on the thing. Here he's not passing it. I guess I'm just gonna comment this out to see what happens. See if I can visualize anything. Okay, another one. Listener. It's a line 80, input manager. I think it's just because of the window, so. But the thing is, this should be defined here. So maybe it's because I'm passing the wrong way here. I guess I can just see if there's anything here. Yeah, it is passing this event system, and there is a DOM element there, which is the canvas. So why is this thing not working here? Options. Options, events. Events. Elements. That's weird. I guess I should read the whole file from him and see if there's a difference from mine. But I think it probably has something to do with the window, maybe? The way that it renders there. Not really sure. Yes, doesn't change anything. It's weird because now this one is working. Otherwise I would get the same error. So, like, I know I have this element here. Maybe just the function. It should be the canvas. The canvas should have the thing. Let's see. Maybe it's because I should be passing something else, but I think the documentation says should pass that thing. So it should be correct, I think. What's going on? I'm just gonna look at the file that I have there compared to this one. What I'm gonna do as well is just look at the documentation to see how to remove events from the event system, and then I could just change the function. So most likely what happened is the thing that because they changed Pixi, this library still hasn't changed, I think. So like a lot of these functions are probably outdated. But it's like weird to me that this one works and this one doesn't, because if it has this function, which I couldn't see there as well, the console log. But if it has this, it should have this, so it must have something to do with the rendering cycle, I think. And that's the issue, because then it gets complicated because everything is connected. Like the whole life cycle of React with the components, to understand like when is this thing being called. Like what happens with this thing when that function is being called. That's weird. Because it calls when the component amounts, probably. I guess it's just because of this space that the lines were different, because his stuff is on the other line, so it's probably everything the same. Yeah, it should be the correct one. So I'm getting that error. Maybe it's because, yeah, the thing is that I can't really, because the problem is I don't understand really well how this works yet. I understand that it is part of the life cycle of the component. So maybe if I change this to before update or something like that, so that this is created on the correct life cycle, on the correct part of the life cycle. But then, the thing is, yeah, I have to understand more how it works. Because, I can't really use a fact here. Because I'm using this Pixi component, which is the thing from the library there. And then I'm using this thing to wrap here. So it doesn't make sense to try to put this inside of the use effect to see if it solves the problem. But I do think I'm passing the correct thing here. So I think that the issue is probably this thing that I have to pass another, but then I don't want to spend a bunch of time today. So this is the function that does that, so it receives the type and the life cycle. So I have to see what are the life cycles, and I think it is probably on the function that I was studying yesterday, I think. This one. But it should be on the create, I think. But I'm not 100% sure. That's the thing. I think I need to watch the video again. The playlist again. I think the warning is related to this stuff here. The deprecation warning that it gives. This is 7 and 6. Yeah. Might be because of these things here as well, because the way that, because I'm obviously accessing the events from that thing. But it looks like I'm getting the correct thing there, which is the canvas. Which should have the event listener, remove event listener. And that's the thing that is confusing. Maybe I should read the documentation again. Because there is create, but here the names are different for the life cycle. Maybe there is a... yeah, there isn't. a create thing here. That's what makes the most sense because I'm receiving this thing here. So I think that the thing that makes the most sense is that this is the thing that is wrong, or I should do in another way instead of using the Pixi components, like doing maybe try to initialize this class instead of the use effect on the world here, and then not wrap this, but do something different. Yeah, the problem has to be on the life cycle of the component. So it's probably rendering this twice, once on the server, once on the client. But yeah, that's the thing, because I think this happens when it's mounting on this in the first time that it renders, maybe. Not sure. I guess what I can do is just follow this, try to understand better. Just follow this this call stack. I need to understand how this works. Let me comment the thing out, see if it's gonna render anything, if I comment. But obviously I wanna understand how it works, so I don't wanna just solve this, that's the thing. And it goes back to the whole fundamental problem with the understanding of direct fiber and the reconciliation. And how is this file here, because I don't fully understand. Like, I get it on the concept level now, like sort of, based on what I studied yesterday, but I still don't understand it really well. So I guess I just have to go back to studying this file again, make sure that I really understand how this is working, and I'm also gonna read the documentation here again for this stuff. But this documentation, it, like, for my, like, from the current point that I am, it is not very helpful to me, the documentation here. Because it doesn't talk about the stuff related to how they are implementing this on the low level there. So I need to understand more how to clarify in my mind what is happening on the rendering cycle of React inside of this library. I think that is gonna make it a lot easier to understand the other one. So I have to understand both this one and the other one really well, to understand how it's updating the view and the renderer and the screen for each event and the elements inside of the thing. And it sucks because I wanna do the other stuff as fast as possible, because that's the part that is most interesting. My concern as well, I think, is that I'm just spending a bunch of time is not that useful, or I can't make it very useful later to analyze the code. So that's the thing. Like, I would like to get to the part where I'm actually working on the visualization, like the parsing of the Python code, to see like if it is gonna be very useful or not. And this is the stuff that like I have questions about as well. I think there isn't a clear answer to this because it's very complex, but how much time should you devote to something until you either pivot to something else or do something completely different? Because I think there is a balance to everything, obviously. So you don't want to spend forever working on something that it doesn't matter. I also think that timing is very important. I think anyone that has built anything would agree to that timing is very essential to what you're building. But obviously you can't control that, so I think both you don't want to give up too soon, and you also don't want to stay, like, work forever on something that, like, doesn't have a future or people don't care about. So the question is, like, when should you pivot or try something completely new? And obviously my concern here is that it's not gonna have, like, it's not gonna be as useful as I'm thinking in my mind that it's gonna be. Or there's some stuff that I can't do now because of logistics of the servers and stuff like that. That even though it would work, but I just can't do it now from the position that I am, so. But I guess either way it's not gonna be a waste of time, because after that I'm gonna know everything from the canvas here and how these libraries work, and then I can do a bunch of other stuff as well with Pixi and visualization. So I guess it's not a waste of time either way. Yeah, so these life cycles are not related to the other ones, probably. Or maybe they are, but it's just a different name. I think they are, but it's just a different name. The other one is just component did mount and component will mount, but here's these other ones. Yeah, I don't know really well what is this reconciler primitive. From the stuff that I searched before, the primitive is just the primitive HTML elements, like paragraph, div, text, but I don't understand really well how it works with React. What does it mean for something to be a primitive? Maybe that's the thing. Yeah, maybe maybe not. Like maybe something amounts before this stuff amounts, and then by the time it calls the destroy function there on the viewport, it doesn't have the components because the app amounts first. It could be the case there. The reason why it's saying that the DOM element doesn't exist, because the canvas is already gone once that function gets called. I don't understand how that function that gets called as well. It's probably, I should probably follow the execution of the logic there when it's initializing the renderer or the viewport here. I guess it's just because it's the default thing here. Yeah, that's the thing, I think. So the default makes this destroy itself when it amounts. So I think that's what's happening. It amounts this before it destroys the Pixi viewport. So by the time the Pixi calls the destroy, it doesn't have the app anymore. It's probably that. So I'm gonna test to put this stuff there. First, let me see if it's gonna work now that I just comment that stuff out. Okay, it fucks it up. I was also getting this when I did this stuff the other way using the ChatGPT response. So it's probably again something with the life cycle. Properties on null. So it's the same events. So let me think. Yeah, so I think I guess I would just try to put the config there and see if it changes anything. And still fucks it up. So obviously there are other alternatives that I can try, just not use the component there. But the main fundamental thing here, like I think there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to spend a bunch of time studying again the file. I'm trying to understand, clarify in my mind how the life cycles work, because I think that's the main fundamental issue. Something that is happening with the life cycles, the way that it's mounting and unmounting the components, and then it gives me that message. Oh, so now it works. Maybe if I do here, yeah, it fucks up again. It just works because I closed that. So I have, I don't know which one is better though. Should study first, to study the React Pixi or the Pixi-viewport library, or the React Pixi, to understand what's the problem here. But obviously is that it doesn't have access to this at some point. But now also is interesting that the problem is not here anymore, so maybe this config here solved this problem of the destroy, and now it's something else. Hey Noya, what's up, man? Should also test the drag. See, maybe the drag works. The fuck? Oh, it's this one. And the wheel. So obviously it's gonna call this function. And then that's the point that is messing up there. So it should be on the, maybe it's the events. It's my position of these interactions. So. So the thing is, I don't understand. I think that the E that is passing is this object here. It's passive, but maybe not. So what does it pass? Use Chrome extension to remove all recommendation videos. Does it make you stay more focused? Yeah. I only use on the Chrome. I have like, I separate the browsers. The Chrome is the one that I use for streaming and for studying programming related stuff, and the Brave is more personal. So on Brave I don't have the extension, but on this one I have, because then I don't get distracted. But it's getting more annoying with YouTube because they're recommending other videos to you. Like, you probably had this before when you search something and then it shows stuff that is not related to the thing that you're searching. So it's kind of annoying. And also, I also don't like that not only on YouTube but on other search engines, the ads can be very invasive. So, and it's obviously an issue if I'm streaming, because obviously I don't want to show like personal stuff or anything like related to location and things like that, but I expect that this is only gonna get worse, so. So maybe I just console log there to see. What is being passed here? Yeah, that's the problem, it doesn't show anything. A wheel event. So it is passing this. blah blah blah. Yeah, but this is not related to the event. So it has to be related to the life cycle thing. The whole rendering life cycle. That's the stuff that I wanna have to understand more. Maybe you can just comment that out to see if it works. But like, I think I can find ways, if I think about it, to make it work. But the problem is I don't understand really well. So it's obviously more important to understand first. And the issue is that I don't know how long it's gonna take me to understand, because everything like is involved with everything else in React, and like there are three main things that are involved: is React Pixi, the Pixi-viewport, and then React, the main fundamental understanding of the life cycles update in React itself, the reconciliation between the virtual DOM and the real DOM, and then how does the React Fiber updates, which I think I have a decent understanding now after watching the video several times, but I don't understand how they did it here on the library, on the file. So I have to understand more, like all these functions here, how they're being executed. And like, the thing that I don't understand really well is how many times is React rendering. In my mind I have it that it renders 2 times, once on the server and once on the client. But it might be wrong, and I don't understand really well how the use effects. Like, I think that use effect triggers the one more rendering, and then it is dependent on whatever you have on the callback there. But I don't understand, like, I feel like I don't have enough clarity of what's actually happening when you have like a bunch of different components nested together. I think that's a problem. With only one use effect, I think I understand, but what happens when you have the whole tree and a bunch of different parts of the tree have different use effects and different states, the different hooks, and obviously they are all connected. So I think when it comes to the whole tree and the update cycle of the tree, then that's where I think I don't have enough clarity. Have struggle addict watching YouTube video for hours. I use the extension chew in my Chrome. It works, but the problem is when I tried in learning mode, I open phone and watch YouTube from my phone. Install my YouTube app. Yeah, for sure, man. It's not even a question. I don't use my phone anymore. Like, I just use my phone to like talk very rarely with people, but through WhatsApp. But I almost never use my phone, and most of the time, like, if I can, if there's like nothing important, just put on the airplane mode. I was also thinking about getting one of those flip phones again, like the ones that are not smartphones. I think I'm gonna get one of those, and I'm just gonna use that one. But it's really difficult because everyone is fighting for your attention, and then like the algorithm studies everything, so it gets better and better at exploiting you. And I think it's just arrogant to think that you are immune to that, even if you know like how it works, because the algorithm is studying you constantly, so it knows you very well, and it knows everyone. So, but I also think that it's not that big of a deal to watch stuff sometimes, because like there's always a balance. The problem is when you spend too much time, then I think that's an issue. But I also watch YouTube videos and Twitch streams and things like that. So as long as you have as long as you're able to separate time, I think, to do stuff that is important and then do have fun and watch stuff, then I think it's fine. Let me comment this out and see if I still get the other error there, to see if this one solved the other one. I think it might have solved the other one, but then just bubbles down to the next mistake. Yeah, so putting that stuff solved this one. So my intuition, I think, is correct. The problem is the life cycle. They changed something on the Pixi. They changed the interaction manager, I think, for the event system thing. And then the Pixi-viewport is on another version, like it's not updated yet. So there's a bunch of functions that are not working because of the whole way that the lifecycle updates. So I think what I have to do is study both libraries, the source code of each one, and then also increase or clarify more how the React lifecycle works. And then I think I'll be able to change the code here. I think I'll be able to make it work. My only concern is the amount of time and how I delegate the time for each thing, because I want to make sure that I'm not falling into the trap of paralysis by analysis and just spending a bunch of time studying and not doing anything to improve, because I know that's my tendency. So, but I think here I have to study the libraries more. There's nothing I can do about it, because that's the only way to solve this stuff. I don't want to put a duct tape solution either, because I think it's just gonna compound in the future. But why would the life cycle matter here? That's the thing. Like, what does the wheel... How does the wheel trigger the changes in the life cycle of the thing? The component here. That's why it's difficult, is because everything's connected, so... I think the wheel changes a bunch of stuff related to the other components, the elements, and the view, which is related to the stage, the application, the context of the application, and all of the elements in the view, and the life cycle of React. But I'm not really sure if it is related, because I think that the canvas updates don't change the state of the React. So maybe it's not related to the React lifecycle, it's more related to the apps, but I'm not really sure about it. So it is obviously unmounting at some point. I think it unmounts after it renders on the server side. And then that's why I get this error here. And that's why putting the configuration there solves. Because it unmounts the component before it calls the destroy on the input manager for the viewport. Because this is the parent of the... the component creates the viewport. But then how is it doing that? Because this one solves that, but then it messes up the other one. It's also interesting that it's trying to read this, but the function is different here. yeah, I think I'm gonna stop here. It's already 2 hours, past 2 hours. I think I have an appointment tomorrow, so maybe I won't stream, but maybe I'll stream in the morning. But now the priority is just to study all of these 3 things that I talked about, the Pixi-viewport, the React Pixi, and the lifecycle of React, understand much better how everything is connected. I think I'm just gonna have to do that, study that until I understand, and because it's like a bottleneck, I can't really build the other stuff until I understand this. But maybe if like I get close to the update, the next update, then I'm gonna have to, if I don't figure out, then I'm gonna have to find like a duct tape solution or something like that. Some temporary solution just so I can focus more on the visualization, so I have something new to launch. Which I think after I figure this out, the Zoom event, the stuff that I'm gonna do is just change the way that I'm doing the edges here. Just put the constraints on the bodies and then change the visualization as well, so that it looks better, the nodes. But the main thing is understanding the events and how to think about adding the events on the elements and the view. Because later on, probably gonna need that as well, so yeah, probably if I don't come back tomorrow, then I think by Friday I'm gonna come back. So either come back tomorrow or Friday, so yeah.